Hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am.
Hello.
It is visible.
Yeah. So I'll start. So very good morning to all of you. Like say the topic which I am going to take is something related to cryptography and network security protocols. So PGP, SSH, SSL, and IPsec kind of protocols. Okay. So let us have some kind of background. Okay. So I want every one of you to listen, and then in case you have any issues, you please get back to us. So let us try to understand the basics, because sometimes we might be using all these things in our daily life, but we may not be knowing how they exactly work and other things. Okay, so let us start from the basics, from simple things, and take you to the advanced things. Okay, now I think we are all aware about our IT infrastructure. See, let me take you back to some kind of 40-50 years back or so. See, if you analyze actually our IT infrastructure, if you talk about a single PC, okay, let us say you own a PC and you are not connected to through any wire or wireless to any other IT infrastructure. So in that particular case, so you are using the PC for carrying out some kind of generating the documents or doing whatever it is. Okay. So in that particular case, if you want to secure your IT assets by just having some physical security, put in a room and lock it, the kind of thing should be okay, right? Later, if you look at it, we add something called centralized environment. Okay. So these are something like there is a centralized system, which is a multi-user environment. I think you would have seen these Unix environments and all. So, like especially I remember when I was doing my engineering at that point of time, one of the lab used to be on the Unix environment. So what happened in the lab, we used to have some kind of 30 to 40 dummy terminals. Okay, just a keyboard and monitor used to be there. And in a corner console room, there used to be the Unix server. All these dummy terminals are connected to that particular thing, so that at a time, the centralized environment, central computer can be accessed by the 40 dummy terminals. Okay, so it's a multi-user operating system. So we are allowing multiple people to access that. Okay, if I say that I have a system which is not connected with any wire to the external world, I alone am using it, I can do the physical security to that. Whereas here, what is happening? We have a system which is a multi-user environment where multiple people can be used. All the assets generated, whatever files you create, whatever programs you want to run, all are maintained at a single place, that is the central computer. Okay, so even in the same operating system, in the same RAM, all the user programs are maintained. The same hard disk is used to maintain the file system. I think a similar thing is used in our Linux environment also, same design, right? So if you look at these kind of things, just analyze what kind of security threats exist. Okay, so central computer server is accessed through dummy terminals. When I say dummy terminal, just a monitor and keyboard, nothing else. They are all trying to use the resources at the central machine. Okay, and setup is limited to a building, maybe a room or kind of thing. So there is no wire going outside this particular room to the external world. So in this particular case, if you analyze carefully, see all these 30-40 people are accessing this the central server. If we check the validity, whether they are the right people or not, whom you are allowing them. So one, verify the credentials of these people. That is one mechanism. Another thing is, once you verify the credentials, you have to make sure that the person who are accessing the central machine, he should not try to disrupt the other people. Okay. So in the file system, you have to restrict the access. That is why if you analyze carefully in these kinds of systems, like if you see, once you power on your dummy terminal, we'll just put the 4K screen asking for a login password. So password-based authentication to verify whether you are privileged to access this particular centralized environment. Earlier, you are given the privilege to access this particular environment. Once verified, so then you'll be put in your home directory. From there, you have a access to the various files in that particular environment. Okay. So in order to restrict the file system access and all, we have the privileges, read, write, execute privileges. And we are trying to identify the different types of users, who is the owner of the file, the group to which he belongs, and others like. Okay, with all these kind of things, you are trying to restrict that. At the same time, at the operating system level, it is also making sure that one program memory is not going to be accessed by the other users. Okay, so that is how the OS is also designed. Okay, so in this particular case, these are the kind of security mechanisms incorporated in order to protect one user accessing the carrying out malicious activity to the other user. Okay, now okay, let us come to the present scenario. Now we are in this particular scenario. Okay, right? So we have all sorts of things. We have the local area network, and these local area networks are connected to WAN or maybe the global internet kind of thing. And we have wired networks, we have wireless networks, and we have different types of devices. We have a lot of IoT devices, we have smartphones, laptops. Okay, like that, if you look at it, now these are kind of IT infrastructure we have. There is no restriction. It's a global network, no border, nothing. Okay, so this is the kind of evolution and the technology evolved over the period to bring a lot of convenience to the user. So at the same time, with all these conveniences, we also face a lot of threat through various things like viruses, worms, ransomware, botnets, phishing attacks, distributed denial of service attacks, driver download attacks. Because see, even adversary also has also got all these technologies to try to carry out some kind of negative effect on the same system, right? So SQL injection, exploit kits, cryptojacking, or malicious kind of crypto mining, or shadow IT threats, advanced persistent threats, 0 days, like that. If you look at it, so we are talking about all these kind of things now. Okay, so now we are currently living in the network where all these kind of attacks are possible, right? So now here, if this is the case, so what is that we are looking at? Okay, so what is required ultimately, if you analyze carefully? Okay, so yeah. So now in the present thing, what is happening with all these kind of malicious intentions? So there is a lot of undesired or malicious behavior in our activities. Okay. So one threat is actually threat towards the confidentiality. Okay. That is threat is in terms of stealing information. So corporate secrets, like it can be source code or financial details or trade secrets, etc., or personal information in terms of passwords, PIN numbers, credit card numbers. Okay. Anything can be stolen. So this is a threat again is the confidentiality. Similarly, modifying information or functionality. So that again is the integrity. Okay, our system should be integrated so that people should not try to actually carry out some kind of modifications and other things like that. So what are the possible threats? People may try to install unauthorized software, spyware, or botnet, or some kind of botnet clients can be installed in our systems without our knowledge. Or sometimes without our knowledge, our records may be destroyed. Okay, the accounts, logs, and other things may be destroyed. These are all possible in our machines. Okay, so denying access. The major threat is I am a legitimate user to access some service, but I am denied from accessing the service. Okay, so unable to purchase the products, or unable to access the banking service, or maybe let us say I want to check my results, CBSE results or something like that. Then suddenly when I give my login and all, I am not going, because some kind of denial of service attacks must be launched on the server so that they are stopped from, the legitimate people are stopped from accessing this kind of the service. Okay, so all these kind of things are possible in the present scenario. So what is expected? So what is our requirement, whether it is within an organization or at the country level or at the global the scenario? So if you look at the focus of computer or online applications, is like each of the application or each of the computer. When I say computer, it can be a laptop or a desktop or a workstation, or it can be a mobile, it can be anything like that. Okay, so we are creating so much software to make our job easy, to make the person job easy, right? So what is expected? Every application, if you analyze, there is a word application or browser application or anything like that. So there is a predefined or a desired behavior. Okay, I am going to use Word for this particular purpose. I am going to use browser to browse the World Wide Web. So like that, every application which is software which is residing on the World Wide Web or the internet, or maybe on a desktop computer anywhere, so they have got a specific desired behavior. Okay, our focus is like they have to achieve that particular desired behavior. That is a requirement. Whether it can be an online banking site, that means the client server application over the internet, or it can be online shopping site, or Word, or a desktop application, anything like that. We expect them to carry out a desired behavior. But what is happening? the hackers or adversary, they actively make efforts to cause undesired or malicious behavior. The threat comes in different forms, like I listed out in the previous slide. So it can be virus, or it can be SQL injection, or it can be anything. Okay. So these are the way the threats are coming from the different channels to incorporate this kind of undesired behavior. What is exactly the cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is concerned with the preventing this kind of undesired behavior, right? See, I'll tell you a small thing. See, we have some kind of the office documents and all, which we maintain in our IT infrastructure. So we don't want those confidential details and all to be revealed outside. Okay. So normally what happens, if it is a non-IT, we make sure that all the hard copies and all, we will try to store them in the lock and key kind of scenario. Now what happens in the digital world? So we have to store them properly with the proper security, so that other than the authorized people, no one would be able to access. But there is a possibility, like maybe a small pen drive, maybe a channel, without our knowledge, it may try to bring some malware into our networks. So that malware can be a bot kind of thing, okay, which may try to open a backdoor from our systems of our office, through which it will try to send it the sensitive outside our networks. It is possible. Or maybe the person with a malicious intention may copy the files into the pen drive. So these are the different possibilities exist. Okay, it's not only that, or we might be clicking on a link which can be a channel for some kind of malicious intention to land in our computer, which may try to open channel to carry out this kind of thing. Clear? So what is required ultimately, whatever it is, we need to make sure that we have to protect from all these kind, or protect or prevent this kind of undesired behavior in our networks. Okay, what is required for that? We look for collection of mechanisms or tools designed to protect data and operations and to prevent hackers and adversary. Okay, so we are looking for various mechanisms and tools which are defined to protect our data operations and to prevent adversary. So what all the various solutions are there? It can be through cryptographic algorithms, it can be through firewalls, okay, which are something like intrusion detection systems, anti-malware solutions. Okay, like that, over the period, lot of solutions have evolved. Okay, so maybe like initial days, antivirus we used to, we used to think about some McAfee or something like few things only with the endpoint solution used at the gateway level. But in the present scenario, if you look at it, endpoint is no longer an antivirus, but it is an integrated endpoint security solution with lot of features. At the same time, we have a lot of features at the gateway level. So over the period, in the last 30 years or so, the lot of efforts happened in continuously evolution has taken place in designing the various advanced and sophisticated solutions in order to protect from the evolving threat. Okay, so you can never say my network is 100% secure, or today I'm deploying this, it will be secure for the next 1 year. It is not possible. Okay, you can never achieve 100% secure. Only thing is we are trying to create a situation in such a manner that attacker require more time to enter into our kind of system. Okay, and continuously you need to have a track on what are the current trends in this adversary domain, and then accordingly we have to secure our networks. Okay, so now looking at this, we deploy the solutions in this manner, right? So gateway level and network gateway and network security, and then endpoint security, this kind of thing. And if you look at it, we have different solutions. Okay, so at endpoint we have antivirus. Antivirus solutions also over the period. Initially they were signature based, but what happened? There is a lot of sophistication in the malware design. Okay, malware and virus design. So a virus can slightly get modified in order to get bypassed through the signature get bypassed, and it can enter into the end systems. So that's how they entered into the behavior based, so that they can bypass the signature based antivirus. So then later what happened? Antivirus solutions are developed where they are trying to look for behavior rather than the signature, so that they can try to look for this kind of the adopted malware kind of thing. And heuristic based. Sometimes what happens? New malware has generated for which the antivirus has not yet gathered the behavior. What we do? We try to come out with a heuristic based rules, which is something like a set of all the rules which you try to create over the period based on the behaviors of the previous malware. So what is, there are some 100 malware which are previously created. From there we try to learn some rules which will help us to try to detect the future malware kind of thing. That's how that of machine learning approaches and other things like evolved rule based approaches evolved in order to design antivirus solutions Then desktop firewalls have come into picture. Then and also like see, anti-malware alone is not able to, the antivirus alone is not able to protect. That's why people talk about application control. Why don't we restrict the applications? On my desktop, I want only 10 applications to run. The reason is sometimes any unknown entry can be a channel for malware to enter. See, there are two things here. One is you already know that is a genuine application. You already know this is a malware. But the third category is a gray area where it is unknown entity. You require some time to really categorize whether it is a malware or genuine application. But in this particular period, these kind of unknown things are trying to attack and cause these zero-day attacks and other things like that. So in order to protect from such things, we have something called application control, where if you don't know as known entity, that is, it is not yet categorized as the known entity, why don't you block it? So critical systems may require this kind of thing. So where we have application control, where we restrict the applications and say only these applications should run. Device control, only these devices to be allowed. Other than that, I don't want to allow any other device in my infrastructure. Post intrusion detection systems, OS level hardening. And if you want to look for very, very stringent hardware level of security in a critical environment, we go for trusted execution environments and other, where root of trust comes from the hardware kind of. Okay. Now this is how over the period the evolution has taken place at the end point, and it would be continuously evolving. Okay. There is no end. So we need to keep a track of what are the developments in this particular domain. All these things need to be. We can never say, okay, today we secured our networks with these antivirus and other things. Now we are safe. Okay. We should have an idea what is the latest things, what is the adversaries are doing, what are the latest attacks which have taken place, how they are attacked, how such systems are attacked. All these things we need to have a clear idea. At the gateway level, again, we have anti-spyware, antivirus, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, where we block the intrusion, but once it is detected, we have the virtual private networks. Okay. So, and then unified threat management box, and above all, we talk about threat intelligence also. Okay. So we should have some kind of mechanism for the threat intelligence and other things like that. So here also, if you look at it, a lot of evolution has taken place. Now, by using the advanced ML and other approaches, people are trying to carry out even the sophisticated threats are going to be detected through this kind of things. Okay. And we also have the security information and event management and security operations center through which we are trying to drive our network. Okay. Above all, along with the technologies, the other two important things are people and the process. Okay. So if in spite of all the things, if I have a simple things like where I don't check the devices which they are trying to carry, or I don't have proper process for awareness generation, or the people are going to act as channel, then you will never be able to secure your networks. Okay. The people, process and technology, all the three are equally important in order to secure our networks. Okay. So this is basically the last 15 minutes. I tried to give an overall the picture about this particular domain. Okay. So we are not going to talk about all these things. Our focus is more in terms of network security. Okay. See, there are so many things. Now I am trying to target on some specific problem. So, and what is that problem? And what are the issues in that particular thing? And what are the security services required? And how you try to provide that particular security services and what kind of solutions are available. Okay. That is our focus. So we are not talking about all these kind of things. Okay. Now I am only looking at what the network security. Okay. What is exactly network security? Now, when we try to communicate or establish a communication across two different the nodes in the network, okay, it can be from my mobile. I may be trying to access the email server, which can be somewhere in California, or maybe I'm trying to access from my desktop. I'm trying to access my email server, which is located in the Pune, or something like that. Okay, so across two different machines, I'm trying to carry out some activity. Okay, so I need to protect the data which is transmitted across these two networks. That is my requirement. What exactly is network security? So I need to protect the communication, whatever is happening across these two the computers. That is what is the network security. Why do we need it? Why do we need to provide the network security? We need to provide the network security because there is a lot of threat, okay, for the data whichever is flowing across these nodes. People can snip at the communication. They may try to steal the sensitive data, or they may try to modify that. They may try to pretend as an authorized person and involve in the communication like that. There are plenty of the threats actually for the communication. For that reason, we need to make sure that we need to adopt some mechanisms through which we try to provide the security. How do we provide it? See, we have the various mathematical transformations using which we'll be able to provide the network security. Okay. Now let